realm of the True North, House Rogers has been airing out its dirty laundry publicly with its family feud, and shocked the Canadian business world with its power plays and twists. Meet Edward Samuel Rogers III, chairman of Rogers Communications and son of the late Edward Samuel "Ted" Rogers. The Rogers family is worth $7.4 billion according to a Financial Post article published in March 2021. The Rogers family is one of the 20 richest families in Canada, and this family owns the largest Canadian wireless company in Rogers Communications, which is basically the equivalent of the likes of AT&T and Verizon Communications in the United States, and is also the principal owner of the Toronto Blue Jays, Rogers Arena in Vancouver, multiple radio stations, 2 conventional television in CityTV and OMNI Television, pay-per-view channels in Sportsnet, amongst many other business ventures. In other words, the Rogers family is the ultra version of the rich and famous. So, what happened? Well, you see, Edward Rogers is close to Rogers Communications CFO Anthony Staffieri and not a big fan of the CEO Joe Natale. On the other hand, Joe Natale is close to other members of the Rogers family, including the mother and sisters of Edwards, Loretta Rogers and Melinda Rogers Hickson, and Martha Rogers. All 3 Rogers serve on the board of directors on Rogers Communications alongside Edward. In total, the Rogers Communications board of directors has 14 members, including the 4 Rogers family members and CEO Joe Natale. In October 2021, Edward wanted to replace Joe Natale with Anthony Staffieri as the CEO, but to his surprise, the board of directors of Rogers Communications sided with Joe Natale instead, voted Edward Rogers out, thus relieving him the function as the chairman of the board, and effectively relieving his role and involvement with the Rogers Communications empire. Coincidentally, CFO Anthony Staffieri leaves company with no reason given. However, Edward Rogers has 97.5% of the voting shares inherited from his late father, Ted Rogers, which effectively means he owned Rogers Communications, despite the fact that the company is publicly listed for trading, and Edward wastes no time in flexing that. Imagine Steve Jobs actually won the fight against the entire board of directors when he was let go from Apple in the 1980s. And remained CEO to run Apple for the remainder of his time. What do you think would have happened? Would we still witness the evolution and brilliance of some of the most impactful technologies in modern history, such as the iPods, the iPhones, and the iPads? Comment down below and let me know what you think. In early November 2021, Edward Rogers held a meeting in British Columbia, where Rogers Communications is incorporated, and removed 5 board members and subsequently reappointed himself as the chair of a new corporate board. Despite his own mother and sisters are still fighting the case, the BC Provincial Court has ruled in Edward's favor, at least for now. This is what Edward has to say after winning his fight. I take no joy in the decision or the events of past weeks, and that our family has disagreements like every other family. I'm hopeful we will resolve those differences privately, as any family would. I know every member of our family wants the brightest future for Rogers Communications, and that much has been written about Rogers CEO Joe Natale and his future. Mr. Natale remains CEO and a director of Rogers Communications and has the board's support. Our focus must be on the business, a return to stability, and closing our transformational merger with Shaw Communications. However, it appears that there is still much grudge from Martha Rogers, sister of Edward. In a recent Twitter post following the court's ruling, she had this to say: "We are very disappointed with the court's ruling, which represents a black eye for good governance and shareholder rights, and sets a dangerous new precedent for Canada's capital markets by allowing the independent directors of a public company to be removed with the stroke of a pen. What we can take away from this is, we have elevated the discussion around corporate governance to national stage. We plan to continue to amplify the voices of shareholders such that whether they hold ordinary shares or those with multiple voting rights, are all equally worthy to be heard in the discourse of good governance and responsible company management. And even before then, she called out Edward publicly on Twitter and even called Edward's power play the same as Trump's play, with tweets such as, "Ed, wanna talk? Ready to come out of the navigator skirts? You have spent a lifetime behind months." Trumpian playbooks, who wants to talk about Edward and Suzanne's Trump play date. While it remains to be seen what will the Supreme Court say about the ruling if there is appeal, this was such a controversy because in the conventional business world, for a public listed company, any major decisions such as the personnel changes on the board of directors or major appointments such as the C-level appointments will have to be voted and discussed by shareholders in a meeting. Anyways, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. This is Dennis and I will see you in the next video. Peace.